Hi, so this video will teach you how to make a pair of these tassel earrings right here out of embroidery floss. So what you're going to need to make these is 2 spools of the same color embroidery floss. If they're not already matched, you can look at the numbers at the bottom to make sure that they are in fact the same shade. You're also going to need one of these pieces of cardboard. That'll be the tool that you use to wrap up the thread. You'll need 2 earring posts, 2 jelly earring backs, and a pair of scissors. You can also make a keychain with the same process, just instead of the earring posts, you'll use a keychain and connect it to that. So first you're just going to want to pull off the little paper pieces on one of your threads and just kind of get it a little bit loosened up, not a ton. And then you're going to take the thread and you're going to wrap it around the piece of cardboard long ways. So you want to stand it like hot dog style or portrait. And then you're just going to wrap it. And you're going to wrap the entire thing around. So you want to wrap it until you have about 8 to 10 inches of thread off the bottom, and then you're just going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut that piece of thread off, and we're going to use that a little bit later. So now what you should have is your piece of cardboard with the thread completely wrapped up and around, and then you're just going to slide it off of the cardboard carefully, keeping it in its kind of like loop form. So you can see that it's all wrapped up, but you kind of have this like loop. So you're going to actually take this piece of thread that you disconnected and you're going to cut it in half. So I usually just match up the 2 ends, find the center, and just cut it. Next you're going to take one of these pieces of thread and you're going to thread it into one of the earring backs. Just like that. Oops. Kind of gets away from me sometime because it's a little bit slippery. So you have it threaded through one of the earring backs, and what you're going to do is you're going to pick up your big spool and you're going to kind of like tie it onto the big spool. So the earring back is kind of sitting like underneath, and you just kind of want to knot it a couple of times to make it secure. I usually do 2 or 3 just tight knots. And then you'll have it connected. I usually sort of mix swoop the earring back up to the top and try to get the extra strings underneath. So once you have that connected the way you want it and secure, you're just going to cut right through the bottom of every single string. So you just kind of want to flatten them out a little and then take your scissors. It's okay if they're not perfectly even, but you want them to be as even as you can get them, and just cut right down the middle. This next part is the trickiest just because the thread slips a lot, but basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking the other half of your extra piece of thread that we cut earlier, and you're going to be tying it around the top of your tassel to create this sort of like bubble effect that you can see here on the top of this finished one. So the way that I find it the easiest is to just lay your piece of thread flat down on the table, then take your earring, flip it over so that the post is kind of pointing backwards at you, and the front of your earring is going to lay flat down on top of that piece of string. So I can kind of show you what that looks like from above. So I have my string flat down, my tassel on top of it, overlapping just a little bit. And then I'm going to be picking up these sides and tying them around. So I'm going to do that now. So what I'm doing here is just tying the strings around the top, and I'm just going to knot it a few times to make sure it's secure. And you can kind of decide how big you want this top part to be by kind of just adjusting where you tie the knot. I usually do a double knot to finish it off. With these little extra strings that get created by tying it, you can do a couple of things. You can either just try to kind of incorporate them into the earring, make them show up less, or you can just snip them really, really short. And then from here, I usually trim it so that the bottoms are all the same length, and so you can kind of make it as long or short as you want from there. And then the earring back is you just put it on there, and then that's it, you're done.